Welcome to Patty's Aquatics and welcome to my fish room. So today I'm going to be jumping into another breeding project that I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride. Now, if you haven't seen one of my past videos, I'll link it above, where I bred my gold White Cloud Minnows, and I did it in a little setup. I tried something new and it worked fabulously. And in that video, I said I was going to try it with a few different other species of fish. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to try it with my CPDs, my Celestial Pearl Danios that are in this tank here. So with that, let's turn this camera around, hit that open, and let's start this adventure and see if we can breed some fish. All right, so I will be trying to breed these CPDs. They all like to hide back in this corner. They're very skittish, so it's going to be kind of hard to get them out. But first, let me show you what I'm doing if you hadn't seen that first video. I use this little 5-gallon tank here, okay? Now, I was very successful with it because what I did, and I'll set this up, is I put a few of these little coaster slates at the bottom, and then I have this setup of this egg crate and then this mesh that goes on top with the fine holes, if you can see that, hopefully. So I put that over that, and I stick that at the bottom, and then I will put this spawning mop material tied to a rock at the bottom on top of there, so that the fish will hopefully breed within this spawning mop. They fall down through those holes to the egg crate and that mesh. It's raised up off the bottom a little bit by these coasters so that the eggs fall to that void in here. Then after a few days, I'll pull them out. So let me get this all set up first. Then I'll get the fish and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. All right, so I have the tank set up. Like I said, I've got that grate with the mesh, the egg crate with the mesh on top with those little slate pieces underneath it to kind of bring it up off the surface a little bit. I put that rock with the spawning mop material on there and the air stone back in. And I collected the majority of my CPDs, adult ones that I have in there. I'm not really good at sexing these guys, but I know I got a couple female along with some males in there, I believe. So that being said, let's get these guys in the tank. And then now it's the waiting game. We'll see what happens. These are a little smaller than my White Cloud, so I'm hoping they don't find and jimmy away down underneath there. If they do, this isn't going to work. But for now, we'll see what happens. We'll monitor this. I will keep them in here, like I said, about 3 days, I think. And then on that third day, I'll come back. I'll remove the fish and everything for you guys, and we'll take a look at the bottom and see if we can really see any eggs. But really, it's going to be that waiting game after that. So that being said, we'll see you in about 3 days. So it's been 3 days now since I put these CPDs in this breeding setup. So today's the day I want to take them out and all that stuff in there to kind of see if I can see any eggs. So let me turn this camera around and I'll show you a little bit what's going on first before I do that. All right, so yeah, they are pretty skittish like they always are, but I seen a couple males that were just fired up with really red fins, and I'm hoping that this was pretty successful. We shall see in the days ahead. You can see the male in there. I think that's one of those really fired up ones. They like to interwoven between this yarn, this acrylic yarn from this spawning mop. So what I will do is I'm going to get these guys out of here. I'm probably going to have to take this spawning mop out first because they're probably just going to try to hide in there for me to try to get them out. But I'll show you what the tank looks like after I get everything out, and we'll go from there. Well, I got them out, and the fish, the weird thing was there was a male that somehow got underneath the egg crate with that. I don't know if it worked its way down the back corner, that it just worked its way in. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the coming days if he ate everything or if there's anything that survives. Now, I can't, just like when I did the White Clouds in here, I can't see any eggs per se. I did feed a little bit of that Aquarium Co-op Magic feed, so I think that's what's littered on the bottom right now. But just like last time with the white clouds, I guess we're just going to wait and see here for the near future. Throw the air stone back in here. And then we'll just wait and see, and I'll document and let you know if I find anything. The CPDs themselves, threw them back in their tank. And funny thing was, right as I was looking, there was about 3 babies up in that corner. So I siphoned them out and put them in the grow out tank up there. So yeah, I'll see. We'll check back again probably within the next week, and we'll see if anything's in there alive or not. Well, welcome back. Now, truth be told, it has been probably close to a month since I took those CPDs out of that little breeding tank. Now, what happened? I waited about a week, almost a week and a half, and I seen no fry. So I assumed because of that one male CPD that I had mentioned that was underneath that egg crate, I figured it probably ate pretty much all those eggs. I never saw any fry from it. So what I did is I vacuumed the bottom of that tank, cleaned it up. Then I went to go try it again. So I put the egg crate and mesh back in there, but then I put a few more rocks around the edges. But when I did that, right before I was about to put the fish in, lo and behold, I saw 2 fry swimming around magically within that tank. So I siphoned them out. But then like I said, I set it up anyway, and I put the CPDs back in there. And like I said, I put rocks, bigger rocks around the edges of that egg crate to see if maybe they don't get underneath there again this time. So again, I left them in there for another 3 days, and then I pulled them out. And then after I pulled the egg crate out, lo and behold, I found 2 of the CPDs underneath that egg crate this time. Don't know what the luck is, don't know how they're getting in there. I know this, that when I do it again, my idea is to take those little pieces of slate I had underneath there to prop them up out, and I'm going to take some pea gravel and just put it maybe like an inch wide around the edges of the tank. So that's what the egg crate will sit on. And if they are getting around those edges somehow, it's going to be gravel there. They're not going to be able to get underneath. That's the idea anyway. So, but like I said, I took them out. This time I visibly could see eggs at the bottom of the tank though. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to have success here. Well, fast forward about a week and a half, just about ready to give up again, when all of a sudden I start to see some fry. So let's turn this camera around and I'll show you what's going on. All right, so the water is a little green, which isn't a bad thing. I put some Valsinaria dorsage pieces in here to help with pulling some nutrients out of the water while I keep them in here. There are tons of little detritus worms skipping around. I just turned the light on. And it's hard to see the CPDs, but I seen yesterday a good look at them. There's probably at least 20 of them in here. They're hanging out in the back more than anything. Let's see if we can even get a glimpse of them. Sorry. Well, I'll put some B-roll footage over of them here apparently because I can't zoom in on them and get them, but I'll get you some shots. Basically, I found about 20 of them. They like to hang out in this corner more than anything. You can see a little bit in the background potentially here, but it was a little bit of trial and tribulations with these guys compared to the white clouds with the one and done trying to breed. But it was successful. Like I said, I want to say a good 20 of them in here. I don't know exact numbers. It's really hard to see them. But you know, it was well worth it. I learned a lot with it, especially like I said, when it comes to the egg crate this time with this smaller fish, maybe putting some of that pea gravel all the way around the edges of the tank so that they can't get around that egg crate. That might be one solution to that. The other solution is just maybe don't even use the egg crate and just put gravel in here. I've heard that to work too. And that's sort of what I do in my main tank. So what am I going to do with these guys? I'm probably going to let them grow out in here for like a week or so yet to get a tiny bit more size on here. I'm feeding them baby brine shrimp, and I'm feeding them the Aquarium Co-op Magic small fish feed. I crush it up a little bit into more of a powdery form for these guys, and they mow on that. But when I take them out of here, I'll show you where I'm going to put them. I will put them in here. This is my CPD grow out tank. I have been putting them in here from when I find them in the main tank, which I'll show you again in a couple minutes. But I have probably close to 30 of them in here of all different sizes. Now, theoretically, I could put those fry in here probably right now. I don't think they're too small for, these are probably the biggest ones right now. You can see in here, I don't think they could eat them, but I'd rather give them a week or two in that tank just to kind of get a little bit of size. And then I'll siphon them out and bring them in here with these guys, and they can live in here. I don't know. It was a fun experiment trying to breed these guys. I absolutely love these fish, and the colors of them are just awesome. And I should have a huge colony of them now. But back to the main tank. So this is the main tank that I have with all the parents. Like I said, they're very skittish. They like to hide out in the plants and in the back corner. But when they do come out, they're just some of the most colorful fish with that red tails and speckled bodies. And I have success just breeding them in here too. Like, you don't have to even take them out of your main tanks if you do something right. That's where I brought gravel into it with this tank when I initially set it up, because I knew I was going to put them in here. Is with the egg scattering fish, my idea was that if it's gravel substrate instead of like sand, if they are breeding, those eggs could potentially fall into the gravel, and they predate on them, but you might have more of a chance of for fry surviving in gravel compared to in sand where they're just laying on the surface. And I found that to be true in this tank, because I have been finding fry every little while up in the corner up here. Sorry, I will find them. It's been probably like a week before I seen anything, but like every little bit I'll find a few swimming up there, and I siphon them out, and then I put them in that other tank that I just showed you. So there's more than one way to breed these fish, just like there's more than one way to do just about anything within this hobby. But the way I did it with that little egg crate setup, I think it was a pretty cool idea. I think it works really good for pretty much any type of egg scattering fish. The smaller ones like these, though, like I said, I just gotta find a different solution for them not to get around the edges there so they don't get underneath there. Like I said, I got probably 20 fry out of this batch now. If those two were under there longer, I probably could have had more. I will try to breed these guys again though, but I think I'm gonna do it two ways, because I have these two tanks here. I might do the egg crate again in this one, like I said, with the gravel around the edges, and maybe I just put gravel in this one and just put them in here. Like, I'll put them in here for a few days and throw them in here for a few days and throw them back up into the main tank. I don't know. That's the idea anyway. I'm breeding a lot of these fish right now at this time, because for me, swap season comes again in February. That's when I usually go to a swap meet, and having this many months to breed these fry and let them grow out should be perfect timing for me to be able to sell them then at that time to be perfect size. Because then next on my docket are regular White Cloud Minnows. I did the gold, so I want to do a batch of the regular, and then I should have a good stock of some fish to be able to sell at this upcoming swap meets back in February. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you maybe learned a little bit something about the CPDs and how I bred them. Like I said, don't be afraid to try different things when it comes to breeding fish. You can get lots of information online, but the best way to do it is just use the creativity that is in your head. Think of some things that could work and try it. You know, maybe you'll find out a new way to do something, and you can pass that along to somebody else, and you can help other hobbyists learn how to do it as well. That's what I love about this hobby, is just the sharing of information, and I learned a lot, and I absolutely love it. If you liked the video, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And also, I guess, hit that hype button. That's like the new thing now, I guess, for smaller creators here on YouTube. I'd appreciate it if you did that. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you again next time here at Patty's Aquatics.